In this podcast episode, Michael Smoak shares deep insights drawn from his personal and professional journey, touching on themes of achievement, ambition, grief, authenticity, resilience, and the dynamics of public perception. The conversation delves into the struggles of high achievers, coping with loss, managing the fear of being perceived, consistency in creative efforts, and the nuanced interplay between humility and ambition. Michael also reflects on lessons regarding communication, handling public scrutiny, and evolving as both a creator and human being. Michael opens with reflections on the difficulty of celebrating achievements when success feels like an obligation rather than a victory. He explains the psychological adaptation, where previous milestones become mere warm-ups as the bar is continuously raised. This creates a persistent gap between current reality and aspirational goals, where one feels inadequate regardless of accomplishments. The conversation highlights the challenge of learning to find contentment amid relentless self-imposed standards, emphasizing that ambition often outpaces reality's ability to satisfy it. Using the example of Alexander the Great, Michael illustrates how even monumental achievements can feel minuscule in the grander scheme, encouraging gratitude in humility rather than despair. Michael discusses the paradox of material success without spiritual fulfillment, noting that external achievements alone often leave people feeling empty. He ties this to a sense of purpose found in serving others, framed broadly as acts ranging from simple kindnesses to impactful content creation. Drawing on faith, he describes fulfillment as rooted in service and humility, advocating for embracing our transient nature as a pathway to deeper gratitude. This service-oriented mindset is posited as an antidote to existential dissatisfaction that often haunts high achievers. The episode turns deeply personal as Michael recounts the painful period caring for his terminally ill father. He shares his struggle with processing complex emotions like anger, grief, guilt, and how suppressing these feelings only prolongs suffering. He emphasizes that true healing requires expressing and sitting with these emotions fully, not managing or intellectualizing them away. Citing acceptance and commitment therapy, Michael explains how acceptance of internal experiences reduces suffering by removing resistance. His narrative illustrates that vulnerability and authentic emotional processing have been vital for his transformation and eventual peace. Michael speaks candidly about the multidimensional nature of grief, anger, and sadness, and the societal tendency to confuse strength with emotional suppression. Using cultural examples and personal anecdotes, he highlights the necessity of allowing oneself to experience the full range of emotions without shame or judgment. He critiques common masculine norms around emotion that foster denial and repression, positioning emotional honesty as a path to clarity and divine insight. The conversation expands on the concept of momentum mori, not just as a reminder of death, but also as an acceptance that one will never catch up with all obligations in life. Michael shares a metaphor about endless emails accumulating beyond death, framing the inevitable, ongoing nature of work and responsibilities as liberating rather than morbid. He advises listeners to embrace this reality to reduce stress and prioritize fulfillment through joy and presence rather than perfection or completion. Michael reveals an incident where he faced backlash for refusing to conform to audience pressure to comment on a political event. He discusses the polarized and often unfair nature of social media criticism, including misrepresentation and edited clips spun into harmful narratives. Michael nuances the popular maxim that words only hurt when believed by highlighting how fear of others believing false accusations causes deep distress. He advocates for radical authenticity, grounded in faith and personal conviction, emphasizing the importance of staying true to one's values despite public opinion. The idea of Smoak's razor is introduced, wherein when audiences demand commentary, they often actually want agreement, not genuine opinions. Michael discusses the tension creators face when pressured to echo popular positions, suggesting that refusing to be a puppet preserves authenticity and mental well-being. This perspective illuminates the challenges of cultural expectations on public figures and the often unacknowledged complexity behind decision-making about what to say. Exploring one of the greatest obstacles in personal growth, Michael dissects the fear of how one is perceived by others. He reveals how this fear evolves and recurs at every stage of success, from posting on social media to speaking publicly or launching new creative directions. This fear is rooted in ancient social survival instincts and often fueled by inner narratives of inadequacy. Rather than fighting it, Michael encourages a dance with this fear by staying connected to inspiration and curiosity, which fuels authentic expression and helps move through perceived judgment. Michael contrasts scarcity and abundance mindsets, noting that abundance allows one to take risks, give generously, and trust in positive outcomes, while scarcity breeds fear and guardedness. He highlights the importance of learning to lean into abundance as a way to overcome existential fear related to identity and success. The discussion acknowledges, however, not everyone benefits equally from abundance advice. Some need caution. The mindset shift, though, is seen as essential for creativity, joy, and fulfillment. Michael reflects on the isolation often felt by high performers and those pursuing uncommon paths. He shares his own experience during an extended, lonely chapter while deepening knowledge and slowly building his career, often feeling misunderstood or disconnected from peers. This loneliness, he posits, is an indicator that one is on the right path and growing beyond familiar support systems. The period of feeling alienated is reframed as a critical incubation phase for future breakthroughs. Michael asserts that success comes largely from relentless consistency, the willingness to do the boring work over long periods without immediate payoff. He outlines the difference between discipline, external forcing, motivation, internal desire, and obsession, an inability to not do something. His point is that many falter because they lose their initial obsession or don't sustain consistent effort past early struggles. This principle applies both to physical training and creative endeavors like podcasting or content creation. The episode underscores the critical role of effective communication. Michael stresses that clarity and conviction when speaking are perceived as competence and confidence, which influence how others receive your message and leadership. He compares communication to a muscle that can be trained and improved through deliberate practice. Participating in public speaking challenges and content creation is shown as a tool to overcome fear and build authentic presence. Michael touches on the challenge that style can sometimes overshadow substance, noting that some may appear confident and knowledgeable without true expertise. Conversely, valuable ideas can go unheard if not packaged engagingly. He emphasizes the necessity of mastering both craft and communication to break through. The aim is not just to be heard, but to meaningfully impact by balancing authenticity with accessible delivery. He discusses the realities of managing one's brand and reputation in the age of misinformation and rapid social media judgments. False accusations and selective editing can fuel harmful narratives that take a toll on mental health and career. Michael acknowledges the frustration and resentment this causes, but suggests grounding one's identity beyond fragile external validation protects against deep suffering. Reflecting back on his father's final weeks, Michael reveals how confronting mortality shaped his outlook on success in life. Despite grief and hardship, he found gratitude for the relationship and clarity about what truly matters: presence, service, and legacy. This perspective reorients ambition from ego-driven goals to meaningful contributions aligned with faith and personal values. Michael talks about evolving content creation by embracing diverse formats, informational, aspirational, and relational, to build genuine connection. He critiques formulaic approaches and stresses the importance of fun, authenticity, and following inspiration over rigid strategies. This openness invites broader engagement and sustainability in creative work. The podcast closes with recognition of the importance of play and lightheartedness amidst seriousness. Michael reflects on moments of spontaneity and joy, linking them to higher productivity and emotional balance. He encourages adults to unpucker their asses and rediscover simple pleasures, underscoring that the journey toward fulfillment includes laughter and fun along the way.